All right, you guys. So welcome to factoring. Okay. Now we're going to be looking at factoring cubic functions specifically. We started the lesson with an opening video about cubic functions. So now we're going to look at how do we factor different kinds of cubic functions. Okay. So for this one, okay, this one has a greatest common factor, and then I'm also going to rewrite it in standard form. I'm going to put this x cubed at the front. So let me do that step first. So negative x cubed plus x squared plus 90x, okay? And since my leading coefficient here, okay, when you have an x cubed, okay, when you have it in order, your first term, okay, the number from the term is called a leading coefficient. And since it's negative, I'm going to take my GCF as being negative. So I'm going to divide everything, okay, by negative x because that is my GCF. The variables, okay, you take the smallest exponent, and then I'm going to divide everything by a negative when I factor it out. All right, so now you're going to write the GCF up front. Okay, so negative divided by negative is a positive, and then 3 minus 1, so x squared. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. 2 minus 1, that's x. Then 90 divided by negative 1 is negative 90, and the x's are eliminated. All right, then, okay, once I have factored here, the direction said factor completely, and so that's my clue that I may be able to factor this again. There's a possibility that I cannot, but I have to make the attempt. So I'm going to use my X puzzle, negative 90 at the top, negative 1 at the bottom. All right, and my factors would be 10 and 9. Okay, now to get a negative 1 and to get a negative 90, one of these needs to be negative. So it's going to be negative 10. So negative 10 times 9 is negative 90, and negative 10 plus 9 gives me negative 1. So I'm going to recopy the GCF, negative x, and then now I can factor this to x minus 10, x plus 9, and that has been factored completely. So now I'm going to go over here, negative x, parentheses, x minus 10, and then x plus 9. Submit my answer. Yes, and there we go. Okay, and you can see I've got similar work, okay, to Mr. Delta Math. So he took 2 extra steps before he factored it, okay, in terms of he took out an x here, and then he took out a negative 1, and then he factored, whereas I did it all in one step. All right, let's try another one. All right, so we have x to the third minus 15x squared plus 50x. Okay, all right, so again, we have a GCF, okay? Every single term has an x in common, and it's already in order, okay? So 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to take the GCF, which is x, so I'm going to divide every term by x. So that gives me x squared minus 15x plus 50. All right, now I'm going to look at the parentheses, okay? I'm not going to worry about the x at the moment, and I'm going to make an attempt to factor again. I may or may not be able to. Okay, so 50 divided by negative 15. All right, so I need to get a positive 15, so that's going to be negative 10 and negative 5. So negative 10 times negative 5 is going to give me positive 50, and negative 10 times negative 5, or negative 10 plus negative 5 will give me negative 15. Okay, so parentheses x, x minus 10, x minus 5. Okay, all right, now if you're asking yourself, how do I know How do I know when I can give up? Okay. And basically it's coming down to your X puzzle. Like you're unable to solve your X puzzle, but you're also not entirely sure, okay, if maybe you've missed something. So we have a way to determine if, okay, when I can type this into Desmos and then I can determine whether or not I can factor it. Okay. So if I bring up Desmos in a new tab, all right, and if I'm asking myself, can I factor this? Well, I just go into Desmos and I type y equals x squared minus 15x plus 50. Okay, and what you're looking for is you're looking to see that the parabola, okay, crosses the x-axis. Okay, and if it crosses the x-axis, okay, you can factor it. Okay, and if you look here, okay, it's very similar. Okay, because the opposite of 5, there's negative 5. And then the opposite of 10, there's your negative 10, okay? So, but now if there's decimals here, it's not as simple as that, okay? But this gives you a way of knowing, okay? And let me show you an example of one that doesn't cross the x-axis, okay? So if I said y equals x squared and then plus 6. Okay, so I had to give you one really quickly off the top of my head that I knew doesn't cross the x-axis. Okay, so you can see this one right here. Okay, see how this blue parabola does not cross the x-axis, which means if someone told me, hey, I need you to factor this, I would say not factorable, okay, because it doesn't cross the x-axis. So that's what I mean, okay? If you type it in, okay, and your parabola does not cross, okay, if you type in what's in parentheses and it doesn't cross, this right here would be your final answer, okay? If you were factoring, you would simply stop right here and say that you're done, okay? But make sure that you absolutely cannot go to the next step. All right, so let's go back in here into Delta Math. Let's type on our answer. So x parentheses x minus 10 and then x minus 5. Now you could have written x minus 5 in the first set of parentheses and then x minus 10. Okay, like they did here. Okay, he's got x minus 5 first and he's got x minus 10 second. Okay, all right, so that is the basic idea for factoring these particular polynomials, these cubic functions. If there's one that I did not cover, please send me a picture and I will do my best to get you some hints or to help you out. But this is how you're going to complete this first section in Delta Math.